Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on the 27th of August, 2023. We are blessed to have Bobbie Wilson with us as our speaker and Faith Halverson Ramos as our musician with her gorgeous voice. And we will start with Faith.
The first song I'll be singing today is Grateful by Deborah Barber. Grateful for this morning, grateful for the sunlight on my face, grateful for this feeling, grateful for the knowing, grateful for the love that's in this place, grateful for believing that God is all there is, that God is all there is, that God is all there is.
Thank you, Faith. It's at this time that we go into prayer by taking a breath together. And let us rest for a moment in that gratitude. Let's be aware of how we experience gratitude, how our body feels when we are grateful, how our mind might settle when we are grateful, and how our heart expands with gratitude. And if it serves you, take a moment to identify what you are especially grateful for this morning. And perhaps you have noticed that the list can go on and on. So many things for which we hold gratitude. And so we say thank you. And so it is. Amen. And we will hear from Faith again.
This next song is I Am Alive with the Spirit of God by Dale Worley, and added verses by me. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all, alive with the Spirit of God. You are 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 alive with the Spirit of God. We 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 are alive with the Spirit of God.
Thank you, Faith, for reminding us of our aliveness. Thank you. So let us open our hearts and minds for Bobbie and her message. You're muted.
Thank you. So as I was getting ready for this talk about a week ago, I have it in my mind, there's going to be something come in that I'm going to talk about. And I was looking at an email I had from someone, and they were quoting Jeremy Hunter, who is he teaches mindfulness to corporations and businesses. And he said this: I see myself as an island of calm and connection, and I'm trying to make this island bigger, starting with our stakeholders and their stakeholders and my own team. And I'm trying to grow this. And I thought, wow, an island of calm growing. And I got this mental image of how, when we're calm, everything is like just flowing off. We're soft. The muscles are, relaxed. And I saw this calm as a physical liquid or something, and it's spreading through us and going out, and everything it touches. Like if you saw the movie Frozen, everything it touched turned to ice. Well, everything it touches turns to calm. And I'm like, wow, maybe, what if all this spiritual work we've been doing, the only thing we have to do is be an island of calm and connection in whatever we're engaged in. So that's set in my mind. And I thought, maybe as we look at our lives, and most of us are old enough to have lived a fairly decent long time, we can see how it's at some point when we were young, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to be when I grow up? What am I going to do with my career? What? And we go out in the world and we look for a purpose. And what if actually our only purpose is presence? You know how if you have someone sick in the hospital and you go visit them, or sick in their house or whatever, and sometimes you don't know what to say or how to, what do I bring? But really all they want is your presence. Your very presence, holding their hand, just being with them, not even saying anything. What if our only function in the world is to spread calm and peace, even though we're engaged, even though we're acting, even though we have missions, even though we have things that have to get done, even though we have people we have to help? What if? And the person that comes to mind to me right now is Thich Nhat Hanh. The very presence that he brought and still brings, just by being in the world. We all have that. And so, of course, it's contagious because we're all connected. And we're connected. The node of our connection is that presence. When we sit in that presence, every human being, every creation in the world, whether they're aware of it or not, are touched by that presence. So there's great power there. We know that energy is contagious. That's the whole idea of, energy work that people do. They entrain energies in other people. If we're sitting in the presence of a great spiritual teacher, we feel ourselves lifted. We feel the vibration of that. Conversely, if we're in the energy of a person who's down into shame and blaming and depression, we feel the energy of that. If we are not aware of the power that we have to decide where our energy comes from. We simply are swept into whatever's around us. So part of our work as human beings is to be conscious nodes of presence, to be conscious channels, allowing presence, our presence to flow out, the presence of spirit to flow out through us. So I want to demonstrate how this worked for me recently, because what happens with presence in our human lives, in our human experiences, we go into presence, we experience it, we get into this great, calm, peaceful place, loving place. And then, like a dog looking at a squirrel, we're like, oh, over here. And we get out of it. So that's just human. The trick is, the practice is to remember you can get back into it. But here's my experience. So about a couple weeks ago, I'm on the phone with a family member. And the conversation triggered something in me, and I got furious. Now, I don't usually express rage or anger, but I'm just doing furious. And my husband was in the room and he heard the conversation. And so as I'm dwelling on my anger and my reasons, that person made me angry. And I'm expressing this to him, and he's, yeah, and we're both wallowing in this anger. What are we going to do about it? And so fortunately, something in me said, well, don't do anything right this minute. So we didn't. We sat with it. And I had projected all kinds of things onto this family member. They were narcissistic, they were uncaring, unfeeling, and they destroyed the lives of so many other people. You know, all of these were projections. They were imaginations. They were thoughts pouring out of me. But what I didn't see, that I was in projection, I didn't see it at the time. And I know enough to know that when that kind of intense feeling comes up in me, the only way to heal it is to go back into myself. It's not about the other person. No one can cause me that kind of anger. I contained the anger. I held the anger. I am capable of the anger, the rage. I am capable of those thoughts. So, going into my healing work, first go to the body. The body will tell you what's happening now for you. And I could feel this anger, this energy just wanting to be expressed. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to let it flow through. I'm going to feel it. It doesn't feel good. I'm going to let it express. I'm going to listen to it. And so I did. And I allowed it to be like a crying baby. A crying baby that just needed mothering. It needed nurturing. And so I held the anger. And I let it tell me what it hated about this other person. I let it tell me what was wrong. I let it tell me I ought to try harder and fix this. I let it go through all its machinations. And it did. And finally, it stopped crying. And finally, I loved it. And finally, I said, okay, Bobbie, I forgive you for being angry, and I forgive the anger, and I forgive the person who I think caused the anger, who really didn't. It just was ready. The anger was ready to be released. And so it latched onto a situation that triggered it. Now, if I hadn't taken that route, I would still be angry at that person. But what happened? That when I released the anger through my own work, through my own self, through my own recognition that I contained it, that I have it, that it's part of my humanity. When I did that, the triggering event lost its impact. I was no longer angry at that person. I couldn't be. In fact, all those things that I projected onto that person lifted. And so the love flowed. And I'm like, oh, just like I loved the anger, just like I held the anger, I can heal that person and I can heal myself. I can hold myself and I can hold them. And that only happens when we allow ourselves to be in presence, to be in that awareness, that place where we can observe ourselves. We can see as if we are God looking down through a lens to see the little body that we are. We can allow our divinity to inform us. We can allow ourselves to be that node, to be that connection place. So awareness is that place of objectivity where we can look at something and not judge it. Our body is always, always in the now, and our body will always bring us to what is happening in the now with us. Our mind, not so much. Our mind hates the now, really, I'm convinced. It just wants to go back and look at what happened and make some, imaginations and fantasies. I love stories. Or go in the future and what's going to happen, imaginations and fantasies and those stories. That's just what the mind does. It's not wrong, but to be aware of what the mind does, and it doesn't always hold the truth. It doesn't. It's just a computer trying to fix these emotions, but it doesn't know how. The only fix is presence, is spirit. So as I was coming out of this, and I thought of the power that being in that space of presence, that space of awareness brings to each of us. It's a very, very powerful facet of our existence. And I was reminded of Unity's 12 powers. And I'll name them because I'm blanking on his name now, but the founder of Unity identified 12 facets of this power: faith, strength, wisdom, love, power, imagination, understanding, will, order, zeal, release, and life. And all of those are just facets of an energy. They're just different. It's like looking at a diamond and seeing through this face or that face or this face. And so all of those 12 powers are already in us. There is nothing we need to do to go get them. They are part of our divinity as it flows through our humanity. But if we're not connected to that presence, what does our mind want us to do? Oh, Bobbie, you need to have more faith. Oh, Bobbie, you're not trying hard enough. You need to do more for the world. Oh, Bobbie, when are you going to get some order in your life? Oh, Bobbie, try harder. And so we can distort those powers to be sort of a prescription for a penance. to be an antidote to our sins of not really embodying the powers. But when we are connected to presence, we don't need to do anything. The powers are there, always there, always with us. When you think of a creator, someone like a musician or an artist, when they're in that act of creating, something flows through them. There is no, if they're in that presence and that act of creating, it just comes through, it flows, it's effortless. There's no need to try harder. And I'm thinking particularly of Faith and Christina, our musicians, where the music just seems to, without any kind of limit, flow out to us, to fill us. It's created and they allow it to flow. That's available to all of us. We may not all have talents in music or art, but we have talents in being. We have talents in relationship. We have talents in seeing each other as part of the whole. But when we're tempted to seek the power outside of ourselves, that's when we run into trouble. And we are so tempted to do that. I mean, it's like a magnet. You know, when the magnet is sitting and apart from its attractive point, and we see it for what it is, we're fine. But when the magnet of self, of ego, latches onto something that it thinks it needs to be better, to be whole, to be worthy, that magnet just goes shoom, and it's very sticky and it's hard to get it off because we think we need that thing outside of ourselves to make us whole. But we don't. We don't have to control our lives or our behavior. We have to be open to our lives and our behaviors. We don't have to devote ourselves to a future or regret a past. We simply have to be open to now, what's here. If we don't open to what's here now, we do weird things. We hide our feelings. We're not truthful with ourselves or with others. We go into judgment of ourselves and others. We fall into guilt. It's just not fun. But when we're in the now, the moment, the presence, the stillness, that's when we're in our power. And all of those distortions fall away. In the way of mastery, Jesus says, we need do nothing. That confused me at first because my whole life is about needing to do something, to try harder. But no, we do need to do nothing except become aware of who we are in this moment. Allow ourselves to feel the fullness of the presence. The Unity minister, Reverend Brant Colbert, and from Athens, Georgia, says it this way. In meditation, we find peace and realize our constant connection to Source. We remember our alignment, and as we do, we may feel a shift in ourselves at our core. All the outer fades as we stay in the moment, focusing on our breath. We drop into heart space, our innate divinity, that Christ, Spirit, God light within us. from this place, and that's the end of his quote, from this place of God light, we are in power. All 12 of those facets that were identified for us are activated and flow with ease and grace. There's no efforting our actions, no matter how difficult the situation is, no matter how much energy that I might need. Everything that we need is available. That doesn't mean life is sweet and fine and easy and comfortable. Far from it. I think my experience has been, the more I learn about the divine in us and the human, the more aware I become of the difficulties of life, the more they present themselves to me, the more and I think it's for a reason, because it causes us to go back into that home place, into that place of power, into that place of spirit. If life were that easy, we wouldn't have any need to perfect our oneness, would we? We look at Jesus and that final demonstration of the crucifixion, where he went into the Garden of Gethsemane before and meditated and settled and pulled in the spirit, which gave him the power to endure what life brought to him and the power to transcend it. So life is about learning who we are, I think. And when we learn who we are and we practice that joining of our humanity and our spirit, life does become doable. Even though we're in pain, even though we might have hardships, even though we experience all of the things that life throws at us, we do have the power. What if our only purpose in life is to demonstrate our power of presence through our own connection to Source? And by being aware of presence, we allow it to guide all of our interactions with each other, all of our doings, all of our actions. What if we become the island of calm that flows and spreads out and touches everyone? What if our whole purpose in life is only to be in communion with Mother, Father, God, with the universe, with whatever we call that which is unimaginable? What if that is what we are here for? Eckhart Tolle has this to say: what we call presence is the core of my teaching. This is Eckhart. Whenever I give talks, the words are meant to point to presence or to pure awareness. When you are present, you no longer derive your identity from the stream of thoughts in your head. Rather, you know yourself as the awareness in which all thoughts and all things, for that matter, arise. This transition from being mind identified to living in presence is the most important thing in your life. That really is the main purpose of your life, apart from any other personal purpose that you may have. So there it is.
Thank you, Bobbie. So very, very precious and helpful. Thank you. Let us hear from Faith.
This song is I Am One by Marita Brake. I am one with you. You are one with me. As the Spirit flows, so do we. I am one with you. You are one with me. As the Spirit flows, so do we. I am one with you. You are one with me. As the Spirit flows, so do we.
Thank you, Faith. It's at this time that we go into our donation of love and light. We do that by taking a breath together, being fully aware of our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our environment, aware and remembering who we are, aware of the divinity within, which may be called love and light. And with our focus, that love and light seem to expand. We can let go and share that love and that light with the world. Allow ourselves to be that island of calm and peace. Aware of the ease of that choice and the non-doing. And as we experience this, let us tap into our gratitude. Gratitude for our awareness, for the love and the light, and the choices available to us in every moment. To allow presence within us and through us. And so it is. And we will finish with thanks.
This last song is You Are the Light by Carrie Hillary. You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of love. You are the light of peace. I am the light of peace. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of peace. You are the light of joy. I am the light of joy. You are the light, I am the light. We are the light of joy. You are the light of hope. I am the light of hope. You are the light, I am the light. We are the light of hope. You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light, I am the light. We are the light of love. You are the light, I am the light. We are the light of love.